But who better than me? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the casual stream. Now, I do know the football is on in half an hour, so this is actually going to be a very short stream by normal standards. It will be about half an hour stream just to talk over some of our thoughts from the weekend, stuff that's gone on. We will have another casual stream tomorrow where I will be joined by European middleweight champion Tyler Denny, as we're going to be chopping it up about all things middleweight division, especially with the news of, Chris Eubank Jr. now signing to Boxer. Could that potentially be an avenue for Tyler in one of his new fights? He was calling for that fight the same way that Felix Cash and Hamza Shiraz were. So, if he gets through Hamza, could that be one of the new fights? So we will be discussing all that bit about the life journey and all the good stuff that most people already know, but it's always good to go over the old ground, see where you've been so that you see where you're going and you appreciate the journey and everything else in between. But with that being said, today is purely about what's gone on over the weekend, any sort of other quick topics that we can touch on and talk about, including maybe some of the fights we got coming up this weekend, on that the Boots Ennis card. Is there any potential banana skins that may come about as a result, things like that. We're gonna be keeping it lighthearted. It's gonna be just like I said, general quick 30 minutes. That's kind of the take on things. Now, I guess first and foremost, let me greet anyone who's in the chat, anyone who has jumped on the stream. Shout out to Andrew going live during Footy Base. No, I won't be. I'm smarter than that. I was tempted initially to push this live forward half an hour so we could get an hour out of it. But with that being said, there's a game that I was playing on the PS5 and I didn't want to eat into my game time. So I said, all right, let's keep it here. We'll just be nice and short and swift. And because we've got another one coming tomorrow, it's okay. Plus, there will obviously be episodes dropping. I'm assuming maybe tomorrow morning, there might be one. There's definitely obviously going to be Basis Picks. There might be an episode coinciding with Basis Picks on Friday. Definitely will be one Saturday, obviously weekend wrap and all that other good stuff on Sunday. So there's going to be content. So I hope you guys don't mind too much that this one will actually be a shorter show. And like Philip Anson building number 2 today, Philip. You're slipping. Like, you used to be the number 1. I could always count on seeing you number 1 in the chat. We need to get those levels back to where they were. I like when you're consistent. But shout out to you. Thank you for being in attendance as always. We're gonna win tonight, base. Who's we? I mean, who am I supposed to be supporting in this we? I'm gonna leave that to you, man, in the chat. Shout out to Jonah31 in building as well, and Star Fox WR45. Shout out to you as well. Hold on. What's Philip saying here? Shout out to Jack Knight, number 1 in the building. What's going on? What game you playing on the PS? All right, so I'm actually playing WWE 2K24, but I'm doing the general manager mode. That's one of my favorite modes to play on that game, or any game that has a general manager mode attached to it. You will normally find me playing that outside of sports games or like the Marvel games or fighting games. You'll always catch me in there because I want to prove that I'm the best, that I'm the best in putting together a show. Philip Ansel is saying, I left a comment for tomorrow's live stream saying at least I'm the champ here, but I checked it again and it said the 11th, not the 10th. Oh, okay. Well, you're early on that one, so at least you will be the number 1 guy there, Phil. But I appreciate you as always. But yeah, okay. Look, with that being said, shorter roll call than usual. Let's get to some of these topics. And look, first and foremost, we've got to talk about this promotional. What is it? It's not even a deal. They say it's like a promotional partnership between Chris Eubank Jr. and Boxer. Now, before I actually give my thoughts on that, I saw an interview from Eddie Hearn earlier on today. I think there was one on IFL, and I think there was another one that he done remotely. It might have been Stomping Ground or Seconds Out, or it might have been Seconds Out. Also, shout out to October Red. I know she's done an interview with Eddie over Zoom or StreamYard or whatever. I haven't checked that one yet, but I did see it on Twitter earlier, so that is on the list. I'll probably check that at the halftime of the football. But on there, Eddie basically said that Chris Eubank Jr. wanted 2 gimme fights, and then he wanted to settle scores with Conor Benn. Now, he said we weren't prepared to give him 2. We said we could have given him 1. So now he's gone into this promotional partnership to have 2 runouts basically on Boxer, to then circle back to the Conor Benn fight in sometime next year. The problem is, though, when he says that, number one, I don't know if he's actually telling the truth, because Conor Benn is now again provisionally suspended with no idea of when another potential hearing will be had regarding the the failed tests from back in 2022. So we still at this point don't even know what time frame we're looking at for Conor Benn to be able to get back in the ring. Now, luckily for him, since 2022, he's actually managed to have 2 fights. So he won't have super ring rust on him, but all that time at the ring, not making 147 pounds. Eddie's very rarely talking about Conor fighting at 147 again now. I got a feeling that his next destination is going to remain at 154. And if that's the case, that may not be the best place for him, because Conor's explosive and he's fast and everything, but he's not the biggest puncher. And a lot of people will say, he also ain't got a big punch since 2022. But that's like another situation. But going up to 154, when a lot of people before would have said he looked kind of undersized for 147, even though he's got a very he's got a much bigger lower half of the body than the upper half. So I don't know, he obviously can generate the power through there, but it just the whole thing, it seems a little bit touchy at the moment. Don't really know what's going on. But is Eubank literally going over to Boxer for this partnership? And then, funny enough, even in that, he said something along the lines of he's gonna do this promotional thing the way he wants to do it. So does that mean that he's got carte blanche to be able to fight on any other show that he wants? He's just going to be affiliated by Boxer while he does it? Is his commitment solely to Sky Sports? I would really like to know sort of how the actual whole thing is panning out and what the scenario will be. I need to read up on the press release a bit more, because for some reason Boxer put that out it was like early this morning. It was literally, I think it was like 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning when they released that. And unless they were doing it to make to connect to the US market, who would have still been up at that time, it was a very odd time to put out an email like that with such quote-unquote monumental news. So interesting. But I'm kind of just interested to see what everyone else thinks regarding Eddie Hearn's comments about, he's only gone over there to have a couple warm-up fights so he can go into the Conor Benn fight next year. What's happening with Conor Benn in you guys' opinion? And then we'll kind of we can talk about other little bits and pieces after that, including Shakur Stevenson apparently is gonna be at the Boots Ennis fight on the weekend. Him and Eddie said they're gonna get to talking. Stevenson has turned heel on Twitter X. He's gone full heel. Before, he was a bit like what they called in wrestling the tweener. He was trying to pull back on some of it, but now he's leaning into it. He's severed all ties with pretty much anyone that's a part of ESPN and Top Rank, and he's letting them all know what he thinks about them. It's entertaining, although I can't lie, he got cooked by Mace. And I mean, it wasn't even really Mace, it was Cameron more than anything. But when they did the podcast after he said what he said on the weekend, mate, Cameron's always been spicy when it comes to the talk. So I think like Shakur should have known that that one wasn't going to end in his favor. That's the kind of thing you got to pull up and try and play the dozens like in person. You ain't going to just be on Twitter talking and let that guy get in front of a camera and think that you're going to win the outcome. Like he's been like Cam has been that guy when it comes to just being fly and on grease when it was. But that was hilarious to listen to. And see what you guys in the chat be saying. Istaf grabbing the building. Shout out to you. Get some base before the game. 100%. Jonah 31. Connor is roadkill at 154. I mean, look, I think it's looking dangerous up there for little old Connor. I won't lie. Star Fox Eddie exaggerating Connor's situation. Never. Yeah, it had to come, and it was perfect timing. Philip, Chris will become a world champion in poker before he does in boxing. Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I can't even can't deny that does sound like a take. I might have to. I'm gonna come back to this one still. Untraceable is true. Yep. You know what? We're gonna keep that one on the screen until another comment comes in that tops it, because that is the one right now. Run A in the building. Don't worry, I'll put your comment up on the screen in a moment. Right now, Shakur is the definition of high risk, low rewards. If he's not careful, he'll be the new Android. Yep, I agree. Jack Knight's Trump. Chris don't have the brains for poker. Well, he's got the vernacular. I don't know. Yeah, you might be right though. Maybe he ain't got the well. I mean, well, actually, you know what? No, because he was out there playing loads of Sudoku and stuff to keep his brain functions after getting punched in the head. He said he didn't want to slow down, and he felt sometimes it was hard to manifest. So he was doing a lot of brain training exercises to try and keep sharp. So maybe, you never know, Jack. And Ron, I'm gonna put your comment up on the screen. Yeah, high risk, low rewards. He's also high talent, low value at the moment based on the last couple of fights, which again, as I said the other day, it's a bit of a shame because his it wasn't totally his fault that the last fight didn't end well. I didn't think the last fight was wholeheartedly boring. I thought it was actually quite entertaining in the first half to the first 8 rounds, but it was just the lack of a switch up game or the lack of a proper front foot game that really sort of hurt him in that fight, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, his values kind of tanked at the moment, and we're not talking about Davis. Philip, did you see the picture of those guys sleeping during the fight? One of them was on the floor using his jacket as a pillow. I didn't see that picture. You know what, Philip, you might have to tag me in that on Twitter or something, and I'll take a look at it in a bit. But that sounds hilarious, and I can imagine that. Yeah, but everything about the promotion was nasty work. They done that all because he was leaving. They was all being zesty. He was being zesty on the timeline. They was being zesty with the cameras. I mean, yeah, that's it was bad practice and nasty work by everyone involved. So it is what it is. But it's a shame. It's a shame, but it's fun. It's entertaining to see. And like I said, most people are looking at this new iteration of Shakur. This could be sometimes, what they say, the villain sometimes has a better storyline than the hero, and sometimes it's nice to see where the villain arc started. And I think we all noticed Shakur's villain arc definitely started in the after the De Los Santos fight. I mean, well, to be honest, it sort of birthed itself as a concept after the Nicotila fight. Then after the De Los Santos fight, you saw, the love ain't there for me no more. It's changing. And now after this fight, he's just lent fully into the dark side. And I'm here for it in certain instances. He be disrespecting a lot of people. It's mad though when he's talking about he's dissing Tim Bradley for having a shiny head. I mean, quite frankly, when you're bald, that's the one thing that you go for. You want to make sure that the dome is well polished. And to be honest, I've started shaving my hair off at the minute. I want I'm trying to get that clean dome look, and I haven't quite perfected it yet. Hence why I do all of these. Well, I'll do them in the hats anyway, but I could take the hat off. It's not a problem. But that's why I do them in the hats, because I don't quite have that look that I'm after. I've also got a bit of hyperpigmentation that I'm trying to clear up, which doesn't help the fact that my head, and as you can see, my facial hair is very dark, right? So you know that when you shave your hair clean off and you've got your dome underneath, but then you get the little specks of hair starting to come out, and because they're very dark, it makes when I let it go bald, it looks crazy. There's pictures on Instagram if anyone wants to see what I'm talking about, but you'll understand what I mean. It's not because I'm not naturally bald. It's a lot to deal with. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so that's the thoughts on Chris and Shakur at the moment. So let's jump into something else real quick. Luke, and shout out to you also. Before that, Star Fox is disrespect. I know what he's talking about, not having the brains to do poker. What's your take on Hatman saying Dubois should have a voluntary defense against Atalma before May 2025? Look, it's Hatman's opinion. To be honest, if they had the fight, I'd watch it. I'd try and get a press accreditation if I'm honest, because it would be fun. It wouldn't necessarily be deserved by Atalma unless you've got the Marius Wack fight. You got to fight someone in the top 15 after that to get, to then be able to say that you can get in a voluntary position. Like, you've got to go in against a Jerome Miller or Otto Wallin, a Murat Gassiev maybe. I know he's not top 15, but it's a credible name. You got to get in there with one of these type of guys. And see what you see, how you kind of move after that. Speaking of which, the one thing I never mentioned when I was in the when I did weekend wrap or last week. So at the Johnny Fisher fight, Bryant Jennings was in the crowd. Now he was also at the Riyadh season Wembley edition card announcement, and you said he had a fight that I think it's on the 24th, I think it's the 24th of August he's got the fight, or it might be 24th of July, it's one or the other, but he was in the arena for Johnny Fisher. Something got the wheels turning to think that he might be putting himself in the hat to be a potential opponent for Fisher moving forward. Because there was a lot of other heavyweights there, like Fabio Wardley was there, Derek Chisora was there. There was a couple others. Obviously, Dillian White was there as well. But there was a couple other sort of like budding heavyweights, Jordan Thompson as well. So I was just thinking, like, could this be a situation where he's there to just see the energy, see what the guy is like, and if that could be a route for him to get back into the mainstream? Because he told me in the video that he was going to look to go down the Bridgerweight route just to sort of get the title, to then maneuver himself back into proper heavyweight competition. But could there be an opportunity for him to be looking at, Johnny Fisher, saying, well, he's got a big name and a following on the roads right now. Maybe that's the route to go. Interesting. I don't know. You guys obviously let me know what you think, if that could be a potential out. But yeah, in terms of Dubois versus Atalma, I think I know. I feel very confident that Daniel Dubois would win that fight right now at this stage. Moses still got to grow into his man body and get his man strength. So it'll cause Daniel a lot of problems because he's obviously southpaw, good mover. But Daniel, that work rate and those heavy hands, I think Daniel's got that. But like I said, I'd watch it if it came on. Philip, well, I actually saw the picture when watching the relay. You'll see the video with the thumbnail of those two dissing Shakur. Okay, right. So I saw an animated picture like that where they had Shakur in the front and there was a bunch of people that they was animated and had their backs turned to the ring and they were sleeping. I don't know if that's the picture you're referring to, but if there's actually a legit one from the arena where they was in there with sleeping bags, that's cold. But if it's the actual animated picture you're referring to, I did see that one. Shout out to James, shout out to you, salute. We're not staying on for too much longer. We're just doing this quickly before the football starts. Carmen, building, shout out to you. Each and every time is always appreciated. Star Fox, no, sleeping on the floor is a disrespect, but Chris Brainpower is too now. You mention it. Karma ain't caring about no hyperpigmentation, clearly. Karma's a real one. She don't let a little imperfection stop the love. Gotta love that. James, not sure if you already touched on this, but what's happening with Dillian? Is he allowed to fight in the UK? So he said he's looking to fight again in September. He didn't make it clear if it was going to be over here, back in Ireland, or abroad. But the thing is, because I think he'll be cleared to fight in the UK, because if you remember, it wasn't a UCAD test that he got, that he sort of had the adverse finding on. He hadn't done any UCAD tests. It was a VADA test. They've got to the bottom of their investigation, which has been, I think, submitted to UCAD, and the WBC and everyone else, and the state. It was over here where he was going to fight in it. Yeah, I think all of the information got put through to everyone. His temporary suspension got lifted, even though it wasn't like a proper enforceable one, because again, it wasn't via UCAD or the BBBOC. But yeah, he left, did his due diligence, came back with the paperwork to show the contamination, I think, and now they're suing they're obviously doing the legal suit for the company and suing them. So he said he wants to come back in September. Then I think he said he wants to get back out again in like December, November, December. And then next year he said he wants to be back in the mix with everyone else and just getting good fights and delivering good fights. So Luke and Brian Jennings is the retiree. He's just in for a payday. That's fake ambition. Stop the cap. Maybe, but you know what? He's always in good shape. And if nothing else, he knows how to take someone rounds, innit? He'll give people problems that they ain't really used to, especially the big lumbering heavyweights. Yeah, I think it was that. Okay, so yeah, I seen that picture, Philip. I know what you're referring to. That one's funny, but yeah. So look, we got a couple minutes. We literally got it says 4 minutes on mine, but I'm gonna say 3 so that everyone can get set for the football. So any last comments, any last topics, things to talk about just before we lock this one off? I'll put a graphic to it as soon as it's done, and then, like I said, we'll set up and I'll get a graphic done for tomorrow. That one, I think that we're gonna open the stream similar time, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Tyler Denny's I'm hoping he'll be with me on the stream for the majority of it, but they'll definitely have at least sort of 20 minutes. At least a good little 20-minute conversation. So what I'll try and do is I'll try and get him to jump on maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes after the stream starts, so that everyone's in the building by the time he does jump on. And I'll see if I can get a episode done as well. Luke, and that recent IFL TV with Dillian cracked me up. A random Dunny asking what month he was fighting, mocking everything else. So yeah, no, the thing is, I agree with Dillian on that one. It's actually good that I'm bouncing before the sun goes down, because I haven't turned on the main light in the house. As you guys can see, it's gotten a bit darker. But yeah, no, I agree with him. At the end of the day, like, if you don't know him, at least say, hey, what's up first? Like, give him a hail up before you want to run a stupid joke. Who goes out to someone they don't know in real life and just runs banter on them, and you don't know them like that? No, you gotta test the waters to make sure you ain't about to get punched in your face, because consequences are real. Fisher's been added to Catterall versus Prograis. Yep, he has. That's something I did call it. I said that they should be getting him out again within a couple weeks, a month, because he barely broke a sweat on the weekend, and I was right. And they're going to do that one. They're probably going to try and get him out again in September. It won't be the Wembley card, although if they did throw him on there, that could guarantee them an extra couple thousand tickets. but he's gonna be on. He'll definitely be on the Australia card, which I think they're looking for October. But I think he'll be out 3 times before the end of the year, and then like at the start of next year, they'll bring him back here for a big fight, which is probably just going to be another well-known British guy, but someone that's faded. I did say though, and I'm hoping they do it on the Fisher card. If anyone saw my saw me on the show with October Red and Danny and everything the other day, I said I want Johnny Fisher, put him in the ring with Konstantin Dobyshenko for his next fight. If they want someone that can get him some rounds and give him some stuff to think about, perfect person, in my opinion. So that's who they need to bring him in the ring with. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we're going to cut this one off short. As I said, very short stream, but thank you very much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow. It's either 7:30, 8 o'clock. You guys will find out. Just check the thumbnail, and yeah, we'll get all of the other stuff sorted. But until then, Hardcore Casual out.
Maybe I'ma make it, maybe I'm not. In time we'll see. But who better than me? I don't care if you agree. I ain't saying that I'm better than anyone. But who